This show has been brought to you by SacredApparel.net. The homie Twink and the crew over there are always coming up with the latest fashions. The tees, the hoodies, and the hats. Right now, they got a store-wide sale going on. Everything 20% off. This would be a great time to pick up a hoodie. Everything 40% off. Regular price $40, now they $25 a hoodie. And the dope thing that I like about Sacred Apparel, they got tees for the big homies. So go check them out, sacredapparel.net, a clothing store for the ladies and gentlemen that choose to live sacred. You dig?
We are the plug for producers, the ShowLab Producer Podcast. You dig?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This should be played at high volume.
You ain't got the answers.
Yo, what's good?
Hey, yo, what's poppin'? It's your boy Swift.
Young Joshua.
This is
Surface.
This your man K-Drama.
This is the Amazing SB, and you're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast.
And you're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast.
And you're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast.
You are now listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast.
And you're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast with my man Marv.
With my homie Marv. With my homie Marv. With my man Marv from OB.
I'm a Marv from Mo Beats, baby, yeah. You're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig?
Yo, what up? You're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast, man, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff, you dig? I am your boy, Marv from Mo Beats, in the building for this Tuesday afternoon, man. How you guys doing today? I'm good, man. I had a busy weekend. My second to the youngest had a birthday. We had a birthday party. Went to this place where you just jump on trampolines all day. We did that on Sunday. And then on yesterday, man, I took my youth group to Six Flags. So a brother is tired. I'm tired, man. But I'm here, and I'm glad to be here. Glad you guys are here. Man, we got a great show lined up today, man. I am honored and just amazed, man. I've just been really amazed on the interviews and stuff that God has been allowing me to, the favor that he's been showing me, man, to get these interviews with these different producers to give it to you guys, man. And today I have on the show producer, author, and professor, six-figure digger on the show. Your very own, yours truly, six-figure digger. If you don't know this gentleman, man, you may have definitely heard his work. The joint Many Men by 50 Cent. He produced that mug. He did a lot of production for Cameron, Dipset, Big L, back in those days, man. And I'm honored to have him on the show to talk about his book that he has out called TheBeatGame, something that I highly recommend that all producers get their hands on. And just to talk about how he got started and what he's doing out in Atlanta. He's a professor now. He's teaching a music class out there in Atlanta. So we're going to have him on the show in a few minutes. Before we start, man, I got to start off with the scripture. Real simple, short scripture, but it says a lot. And it's coming from Proverbs chapter 21, verses 25. Proverbs chapter 21, chapter 21, verse 25. And it reads, lazy people finally die of hunger because they won't get up and go to work. I'm going to read it again. Lazy people finally die of hunger because they won't get up and go to work. Just that simple. Man don't work, man don't eat. You can't get no simpler than that. You know what I'm saying? How would I relate that to us as producers. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today, and he was just like, man, Marv, man, how did you get to the place that you're at? And I'm not proclaiming to be this major dude or, this mainstream cat, but, I consider myself to have a nice following and clientele as a producer. But he was just asking me, man, how did you get where you was at? I said, man, you know what? The grind is real. Consistency. You have to be consistent, man. I remember when I started out, man, I used to be wearing that MySpace out. MySpace and SoundClick was my Instagram and my Facebook back in those days. That's all they had. And man, I used to embed my SoundClick in the MySpace inboxes, man. As soon as they click on it, the music is coming on, and before you know it, man, people just start to catch on, word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? Artists start to reach out. And man, it just grew, and I just stayed consistent with it, man. Something that blessed me the other day, a real close friend of mine sent me a text, and he was like, bro, he said, man, you're like the daggone ambassador for Machine Masters. He said, every time I look up, you on some kind of review or something. And he said, man, I am just so, he said, I'm proud of you. He said, man, you're the most diligent, consistent man that I know. Now, I wouldn't have said that about myself because I don't think that I'm all that diligent and consistent when it comes to certain things, man. But this came from another gentleman, and that's true, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I've been blessed to be able to provide for my family, making beats, making music, man. This is a part, I consider this is a job for me. You know what I'm saying? Making music, producing for artists, man, it is a job. So I try to treat it like a job, man. And, people that know me, they know I got a big family. You know what I'm saying? I got a wife and 7 kids. You know what I'm saying? 2 teenager boys in the house. I got 1 preteen, and I got a 9-year-old. And them jokers eat like grown men. You know what I'm saying? So I try to treat the music like a job, because I have to be able to provide for my family. And at the same time, being able to trust God ultimately, because don't even get it twisted, or do I want you guys to even have any kind of misconceptions. Doing music like this, doing music on a full-time basis, it's a trust factor, because, you don't get a paycheck every week, not making this music unless you're some kind of in-house producer or you're on some kind of retainer where you can bank on that. But even that can flop, you know what I'm saying? But, it's a trust factor for me, man. And I try to make good music, try to establish dope and great relationships with people. And I try to be consistent. When people call me, man, I'm trying to be on it, And, that's how I will relate that scripture, you know what I'm saying, to what we do as producers. Lazy people finally die of hunger because you won't get up and grind. Point blank. If you're not grinding, don't expect to have any platforms, or don't expect to, people to hear your music and stuff. You have to work hard at it, and it ain't gonna happen overnight, and then again, who knows, man? You might get that big hit, but for the most part, there's a consistency grind that has to be there. So I hope that scripture blesses you, man. Encourage you to, keep pressing forward. You know what I'm saying? Doing what you're called to do. Love what you're doing, but be serious about what you're doing. Look at it as a means of providing for your family. And that is the scripture for today. In a few minutes, man, we're going to have my guy, my homie, Darrell Branch, a.k.a. known as Six Figure Digger, on the show. And he's going to be dropping some knowledge on us, you dig? And you're listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast. This show has been brought to you and sponsored by SacredApparel.net. SacredApparel.net. I'm going to say it again. SacredApparel.net. One more time. SacredApparel.net. I'm going to cut the music off. SacredApparel.net. Go check them out. They got some fire tees, Fire your hats, fire your hoodies, just fire everything. Tell my boy Twink Marv sent you. You're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff, you dig?
You're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff, you dig?
Are you working on a project and you're looking for your next banger? Well, check out the team over at SoundHbeats.com. Looking for a variety of production? Well, the homie Ray and the crew over there can take care of all of your musical needs. They got exclusives, leases, and they got a clearance sale over there. Are you an artist on a budget? Well, now they are offering bulk discount prices on their lease beats. So what you waiting on? Head on over to SoundHbeats.com and pick up your banger today. Christian music, all heart, SoundHbeats.com.
We are the plug for producers, the ShowLab Producer Podcast. You dig?
Everybody going crazy.
We are the plug for producers, the ShowLab Producer Podcast. You dig?
Yes, sir. You're listening to the ShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig? I am your boy, Marv from Beats, man, and I am honored to have this gentleman on the show. I know many people have seen me talk about this guy on Instagram. He wrote a book called TheBeatGame. If you don't have this book as a producer, I'm telling you right now, you need to go out and get that mug. It is like a producer Bible. D Digger, he put together a dope book, and I'm honored and I am grateful and glad in all these things above to be able to have no other than the author, producer, and teacher himself, the homie Digger, on the show. What up, bruh?
What's going on? What's going on, Mark?
Man, I am well.
Happy to be here.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. We've been trying to get up, man, but I'm here, man.
No doubt, man. Man, I know you know your business stuff, man. So I'm glad that I was able to get you on. I don't know, for some reason, man, these Fridays just was not happening.
Right.
Yeah, man. Either I was on daddy duty. I know the first time we connected, I know Mom, I know you told me Mom, she was in the hospital and stuff. I hope everything was well with that.
Yeah, well, actually it wasn't, man. Actually, my mom, she passed away.
Oh, man, I am so sorry to hear that, bro. Man, did you?
Man, thank you, man.
Were you in Atlanta? You had to go back, or was she in Atlanta?
Yeah, man, I was in Atlanta. Had to go back to New York. It was in July.
Oh, wow.
So. Yeah, it was a tough time, man, but I'm still pushing forward.
No doubt, man. I definitely know how it is to lose a mom, bro. So definitely feel your pain. Definitely keep you guys, the family, in prayer, man. And definitely give you guys my condolences, for real.
Thank you.
No doubt, man. So before we get into this, to all these questions I got for you, for all the listeners, would you please introduce yourself, tell the people who you are and what you do and what you have did and all that good stuff?
Well, my name is Darrell Digger Brantz, music producer, author, teacher, all of the above. Been producing music for about 17, actually going on 18 years. And I started out, I'm from Harlem, New York. And I started out with a crew called Children of the Corn, which was a collective group that had fellow rappers, Mace, Cameron, Big L, McGruff, and Bloodshed, and a host of other rappers. And I just went on to produce for, all sorts of artists like 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Cameron, of course, Ghostface, Young Guns, Luda. I mean, the list goes on.
Right, right.
So.
Well, that's what's up, man. Did you grow up with Cameron?
Absolutely, yeah. Me and Cam knew each other. We went to school together since we was like 6, 7 years old.
Wow.
From elementary school on up. So me and him just pretty much started out together. Actually, I started rapping and producing and kind of got him involved in it as well when I started.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Well,
No doubt, man. How long have you been producing, bro?
I've been producing since, all my life, man. And I'm 41 now, and I've been producing since I was probably maybe 11, 12 years old. I started rapping early on, and I got my first piece of equipment when I was like 9 or 10, and just started like putting stuff together early on, and just never stopped.
Wow, man, that's what's up, man. Man, seeing that your resume is so big, man, before we get into the book, bro, just talking about your experience, do you remember your first placement?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my first beat that I actually got paid for was a song that I did called American Dream, which was, kind of a group, a posse cut that they used to call back in the days with Big L,
right,
Cameron, Mason, and everybody else. And, initially it was a beat that I did for Cameron and his cousin Bloodshed, and Big L heard it, and he loved it, and he wanted to use it and be on it. And next thing I know, he had called his label because he was the first one signed for my neighborhood. He had got a major record deal with Columbia Records. So, that was the first time that I got my first placement. I got paid $1,500 for the track.
Whew.
And,
how old were you at that time, bro? How old were you?
I was probably, this was when I was in maybe 19. 18, 19.
Man, so you definitely thought you were balling.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, when you've been making beats and it's just kind of a hobby,
right?
When you get that first check and actually somebody is paying for your art, it just motivated me to like the 10th power after that.
Right. That's what's up, man. So. As time from your first placement to popping off, working with Diplomat and Cameron and Mason, all them dudes, through all that experience, bro, what was the epiphany? Let me not say epiphany. What was the reason and the wake up call to do this book? You know what I'm saying? What was the whole purpose of putting this book together?
Well, it was just kind of, all through my journey, when I started out, it was kind of like, when I got out of college, I went to school for music. I graduated with a music degree in music business. But, I graduated college in May, and I actually got my first production deal in August, so within 3 months, I was kind of thrown into the music game.
Right.
So everything was moving so fast for me that, I had to learn on the job pretty much. So when I started to reflect on different things and seeing, what was going on and mistakes that I made, I was like, hold up, I need to, maybe I should write a book on this because people don't really understand the real world experiences. Everybody, I got people, different, aspiring producers and beat makers always coming up to me, wanting to learn about the production game. But, I have a saying that I teach in my class, which is basically like the theory and the real world, So the schools, and the universities are going to teach you the theory, but they're not going to teach you the real world. So
right.
I was just inspired to, just write the book and have the beat game be like a play-by-play, or actually, like a playbook for producers that's trying to get in the game. So when they thinking about something and they in a situation, they can refer back to the book and kind of read about my experience, and maybe that can help them figure out what direction they need to go in.
Right. Well, I tell you what, bro. When I'm trying to remember. I think I seen you posted maybe like the cover on Instagram, And you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, the beat game. I said, well, let me go ahead and download this mug. Let me tell you, dog. When I downloaded and started getting into it, bro, I called all my producer friends and told them. I said, y'all need to go pick up this book called The Beat Game. You know what I'm saying? And something that you said, man, it's like, you know, school is going to teach you the theory. But what I liked about it, man, is that you really gave producers the real. You know what I'm saying? Because because even you're talking about you went to school and then you left one out of town, and I'm remembering stuff that's in the book. You know what I'm saying? And just talking about all the hardships and stuff you had, man. That's what school is not going to teach you, man. So I definitely can appreciate, you know what I'm saying, just the whole transparency. You know, even in the book, man. You know what I'm saying? Man. You know, I think sometimes what happens as producers, man, we just get so caught up on just wanting to make the music and tend to shy away from the business aspect. And I guess that's my next segue. That's a segue into my next question. Why do you think producers tend to shy away from the business aspect of it, bro?
Well, I mean, I think it's because of it's just the easiest thing to kind of do now. You know, especially with technology and everything moving so fast. I mean, the creative side is always easy to deal with. You know, so you can always, you know, if you wake up one morning and say you want to be a producer, you can walk into, you know, a Guitar Center, Sam Ash, or whatever music store you deal with and buy your equipment and pretty much get started. But the business aspect of things is something that you really got to search for and learn about. And, you know, and I tell my students all the time that this is a music business, and I know, you know, people have, you know, say that all the time, but it should actually run parallel with everything that you're doing, you know. So if you're trying to study your plugins and study how to use the machine and the MPC or whatever piece you're using, you should spend that same amount of time learning the business. I mean, if you're trying to work at McDonald's, you know, you get a job at McDonald's, you're going there and to get paid. Right. You know? So it's like, why would you go to try to work without knowing where your money is going to come from? It's right. So it kind of doesn't even make sense. Right. You know what I mean? So it just goes hand in hand. So I just wanted to kind of break the beat game down to the simplest form so that you can just understand and at least know how the business works. Of course, it's not going to teach you the music business overnight, but it should just get you started so that you can, you know, do the research on your own. Right. Man, I guess my next question is, how important, I mean, as we're talking about studying the business, how important is it for an indie producer, you know what I'm saying, to understand contracts? Well, I know that might be a dumb question because it is important. I think let me rephrase it, bro. I think what happens as indie producers, you know what I'm saying, we don't have access to like maybe entertainment lawyers and stuff, and I ain't gonna lie, dog, you know what I'm saying, I've had some placements, working with some artists and stuff, bro, and if I didn't have a friend of mine that was actually into managing, bro, and was able to break the contract down to me in layman's terms, man, I would have been stuck like Chuck, man. But, you know, what do a producer do in that case, man, when they don't have that access to an entertainment lawyer or really understanding, you know what I'm saying, how a contract supposed to read, you know what I'm saying, what the royalty is supposed to look like, you know what I'm saying? What would an indie producer do in that case? Well, I mean, you know, not to make a shameless plug, but it's like that's what the beat game is about. You know, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like, I try my best to kind of break it down so that, you know, you can understand exactly what's going on. I mean, just to simplify it, because honestly, you know, contracts is just a bunch of, like, you know, legal mumbo jumbo. You know, it's just basic words in there to protect both parties. But bottom line, it's just, you are exchanging rights, for your music. And,
right.
And once you pretty much understand, what you're giving up in exchange for money, then, you can figure out how you want to, negotiate.
Right.
And that's the other end of things is just, you got to have, negotiating skills. You got to kind of foresee and forecast, if potentially a deal is right for you. But these are things that, producers and aspiring beat makers can really understand when you just really break it down to the simplest form. Even on down to the street level, it's like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go out there, and if you want to sell drugs and figure out how to do that. So, if people got the mental capacity to put it together, if they really want to break it down. I think sometimes it's just, people don't want to, they get intimidated by it, and then they just go for anything at that time.
Right. And not only intimidating, but just to get on, dudes are slave themselves.
Right.
I have,
right.
Man, after reading your book, bro, well, no, when I read your book, there was a part in the book that I read that was confirmation to me on what I said I would never do. I was working with this artist, and he did a work for hire situation, but in the contract, in the contract it was a flat out rate, no publishing, no nothing. But at the same time, it would have looked good on my resume. But if the song did anything, if the song popped off afterwards, I received anything. And I think there was a part in the book where you talked about Jake One as well.
Exactly.
And that's what made me say, man, this book is for me, dog. Because when I read man, look, just for those, just give the people a teaser of just that part of the book, bro. Just tell them that story real quick.
Yeah, man. Well, producer Jake One, he's worked with, so many different artists, Rick Ross, the list goes on.
De La Soul,
etc. De La Soul, yeah. He's been around for years. He's well-respected producer, hot producer. And, so I spoke with him, and, he just pretty much told me a story about how, he did a beat, and they wanted to use it for the WWE track sound. Well, it wasn't a soundtrack, it was a compilation album, right, and it ended up turning into what we now know as the John Cena theme music that you hear today.
Right.
Every time John Cena, is introduced, that beat comes on, that everybody kind of knows that.
Yeah.
So long story short, Jake One did the beat, and they pretty much, before, they got permission to do it, they pretty much stepped to him and said, hey, we don't want to pay you no royalties or anything. We just want to outright make this a work for hire, and, we're going to pay you, I think it was like $10,000 or whatever it is to do the beat. And if you don't want to be a part of this project, then we're going to find somebody else.
Right.
And at the time, the lawyers, pretty much encouraged him to do it, just not to lose out on the opportunity.
Right.
And so he did it. But now we know that track is being used as John Cena's theme music. We hear it probably every time WWE is being, viewed on TV for the last 10, 15 years or whatever, and it's just being used, and he's not getting paid a dime or no royalties or no publishing or anything off of that because of that work for hire situation.
Man.
So it's just, it's just a situation. So he wanted to share that story, to aspiring producers to understand how this business is really run.
Right.
And just, if you, just to see what type of situation you may be in and what type of decisions you may need to make.
Right. Man, I ain't gonna lie, dog. I wish that book would have been out maybe 2-3 years prior to me making a situation like that, bro. Because when I read that, bro, I was just like, oh my gosh. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I cannot believe, you know what I'm saying, that, I mean, I was just like, man, well, for one thing, I didn't feel alone. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah,
and somebody at Jake One's caliber, you know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, man, this industry can be brutal, bro.
Right. Definitely. I mean, it's definitely things that happen. You know, I mean, again, that's the whole point, that the reason why I wanted to, you know, reach out to some of my colleagues and producer friends that experienced some things. Right. And, you know, they was more than willing to share their experiences because they knew that, you know, that what I was trying to do, they believed in me, and they wanted to give people a real world experience about what to expect.
Right. And that's what's up, man. The last couple of shows, man, I had, show the week before last week, I had Anomaly, the Sound Oracle on the show. And then this week I had another sound designer, man, and we was talking about, you know, drum kits and sound designing, and, you know, just how big sound design and producers coming out with their own kits, it became a big thing.
Right.
So I guess my question to you, man, just from the business aspect, what do you think is the pros and cons to using, you know, different sound kits that producers make? Are there any pros and cons to it from a business perspective?
Well, from a business perspective, I don't really see anything wrong with it. I mean, you know, it might end up, you know, if you're using certain sounds and you people might, you know, if it's a popular sound kit, you may run into people trying to use the same beats, and it might like set an overall tone of a certain kind of beat that may be out there. But overall, I think it's a good thing. You know, my boy Il Mind, he's making some great sound kits out there, and
definitely,
especially and I think he's doing. It's a good thing because he's actually putting some good sounds in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean that's definitely a plus in that aspect of things. But yeah, I mean, are you referring to like producers trying to make their own sound kits, or are you just saying, you know, as far as other producers using sound kits, is it going to be a problem?
What are you using in the studio these days?
I'm just using MPC Renaissance. I also use Reason sometimes, and just using, you know, some plugins, the V Collection, by Tora, and that's pretty much it. You know, Waves, plugins, Pro Tools, of course.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. I keep it real simple.
Right. Man, I was about to get out here and not even ask you, man. SAE Institution, man.
Right.
Let's talk about Professor Darrell Branch. Let's talk about the professor now. How did that all come about, bro?
Man, that was just kind of like, you know, just a natural progression, man. I mean, I've been, you know, the story goes, like when I produced, you know, the song Many Men for 50 Cent, or Forget Rich About Trying, which was amazing.
Hold on, bro. You produced that joint?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Look, I got to give you a hand clap on that one.
Thanks, man.
Oh man, that was a fire beat, dog.
Yeah, man.
That was a fire beat, kid. And those are kind of beats. Those are kind of beats. Not a lot going on in it, but that joint is simple yet a full beat.
Right, man. Definitely, you know, the complete song, and you know, when I did that, you know, that album went on to sell, I think, 11, 12 million copies worldwide. And I put my in the liner notes I put my credits, but I also put my website at the time, which was sixfigure.com. So people started contacting me from all over the world based on that, and just wanting to learn from an American producer on how to make beats.
Right.
So long story short, that was the introduction of me, like kind of getting into music education. So I did that. I had a music program in the New York City public schools for like 6 or 7 years, teaching kids how to make beats and about the music business. And, it was just a natural progression. I taught middle school kids, high school kids, and now I'm on to SAE, teaching college kids about the music business as well,
Wow, man. Man, I think either it was on your website or it was in the book, if I can't remember, but I know you was trying to start up a school out there in New York too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I continue to do things, with the Board of Education in New York. I was actually still working on different after-school programs, doing online, learning school as well for kids and adults. So I'm still trying to figure it out now. Of course, with technology, everything is moving so fast. You're just trying to figure out what will be the best opportunity for me to bring something online as well.
Right. Yeah, I definitely. That's what it was, the online class. That's what I've been waiting on, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been producing for almost 15 years, but I want to be, one thing I try to do, bro, I'm always trying to better myself, whether it's in the production aspect or the business aspect of it, man. So that is definitely something that I've been waiting on too, man, for you to pop off the online classes. That's what it was.
Yeah, I definitely set up, I had my school set up called P-Skill University. It was an online production school for beat makers. And, initially I was going to launch it as an online school, but, I just kind of actually put it on hold because I got some new things in store to actually bring it, just bring a better product to life.
Right.
And so I called a lot of my producer friends that want to get involved and actually, hold courses on there. Again, I want to bring a real world experience to the school. I mean, certain institutions are cool, but I want to bring, people that actually have the real world experience about doing things, and be instructors at the school as well. So that's what I'm working on.
Right, that's what's up, man. Man, before we get out of here, bro, what is the one piece of advice, man, would you give an inspiring producer, man? Just to be able to go on with that that would benefit them in the long run. You know what I'm saying? What is that one piece of information you would leave with an inspiring producer? You know what I'm saying, to help benefit them in the future?
Well, I would definitely say, man, don't necessarily, chase a placement. That kind of
Jesus.
That attitude is, I mean, it's a good, it's a good thing to have, but when you at this point, because the way technology is going right now so fast, and the way music is changing right now, it's more about learning the business and being an entrepreneur and figuring out, your multiple revenue streams as a producer and trying to figure out where you can get in that way. It's more to music than just trying to get a placement with a popular artist. It's film, it's commercials, it's video games, there's theater, there's all sorts of ways, that you can do music production and still get paid for it without chasing around some of the popular artists out there.
Right. That's what's up, man. Real quick, man, where can people buy the Beat Game, and when is Beat Game Part 2 coming? Because I know it got to be another one. I know it got to be another one in store, bruh.
Yeah, man. Well, you can buy the Beat Game pretty much anywhere online.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can go to Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, Apple, Google. You know, you pretty much get it anywhere online. You can just Google it. Anywhere you want to purchase it, I would recommend that you copy it at Amazon because they can deliver it to you fast within a day or two.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, so you can get it there. And I'm actually working on, I have a few books coming out from my book publishing company, Branch Family Publishing.
Mm-hmm.
But the next book is actually going to be called The Producer's Paradigm, A Beatmaker's Future in Music. And it's kind of like, it is a part 2 to the Beat Game, but it's more focused on, you know, the next wave of music production. You know, right now music is going into a real change right now. Like, music is not dying,
right?
It's changing right now.
Right.
You know, so with the change, you know, producers have to be aware of how you're going to actually get paid, and some of the business models and different things with technology is changing right now. So we got to kind of bond together and figure out how that's actually done. So to be honest, a lot of the stuff in the Beat Game is relevant, and when you get the producer's paradigm, it's just going to be a continuation of what to expect in the future,
right?
With, music and digital production.
Right. Well, brother, I put this out here as a fan of the Beat Game book, man. If you need a beta reader.
Definitely, man.
If you want to send me some pages out of the book, you know what I'm saying, I cipher through it, you know what I'm saying, to make sure it's good, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, man. I definitely need a focus group, you know,
yes.
You know what I'm saying, to kind of run it past and see what's going on, man. I've been working hard on it every day, you know. Of course, I'm busy, but I'm trying to get it out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's going to be another groundbreaking. You know, I think it's going to really help producers understand, you know, what it's going to take and how you need to frame your mind around different business models to get paid from doing music production.
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna tell you, dog. And I'm not just saying this because I got you on the show, bro. But I would honestly say that part of the motivation for me to do this podcast was because of your book, bro. Because I'm always trying to. I'm big on anybody that know me, bro. I'm big on producer community. I'm always trying to figure out a way to bridge the gap. Last year, man, I was blessed to be able to put on an actual producer conference for South by Southwest last year, man. Which, Lord's willing, I'm looking to do it again this year, man. But everybody that knows me, bro, knows that I'm about trying to, you know, keep the community of producers going on just in my little space and platform that I have. And I'm always trying to, you know, give some kind of information, bro. So your book, The Beat Game, was definitely motivation for me to, you know, just saying, you know what? Let's try to keep this information going on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, dog, I am so blessed to have you on the show today, bro. For real, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Real quick, man. No doubt, man. Real quick, how can people contact you for speaking engagements, website, any information you want to give to them real quick? Let it rip.
Yeah, man. You can definitely just holler at me at, DarrellBranch.com and DarrellBranch, BARANCH.com. sixfigure.com, SISFIGGA.com, and of course, you know, all the social media sites out there, you know, Instagram /sixfigure_digger, Facebook /Digger Darrell Branch. You know, you can just holler at me, man. I'm right here. It's easy to find. Anybody can find me. All you got to do is just Google me, man.
That's
it.
There, man. And there you have it, folks. Six-figure digger in the building. Thank you for coming on the show, bro.
Yeah. No problem, man.
No doubt, man. And you have been listening to the TheShowLab Producer Podcast, where we talk about nothing but producer stuff. You dig?
We are the plug for producers. The TheShowLab Producer Podcast. You dig?